If you've been scrolling through endless lists of stage pianos, watching endless side-by-side videos, and still feel stuck wondering whether any of them actually fit the gig you've got on the calendar, you're not alone. I've been there, staring at spec sheets that sound the same and trying to guess which instrument will actually survive the road, sound great in a rehearsal room, and still feel intuitive when you're on stage at 2 a.m. after a long day of sound checks. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review I'm going to cut through the noise and look at the Nord Grand 288-key stage piano the way a working musician does what it really does when you plug it into a mixer, how its sounds hold up in different venues, and where its price actually makes sense. First off, the Nord Grand 2 sits in a sweet spot that many players look for, a professional-grade keyboard that isn't a massive console, but still delivers the richness you expect from a high-end stage piano. The biggest draw is its expressive grand piano sound. Nord has a reputation for sampling some of the world's best concert grands, and the Grand 2 carries that forward with a sampled piano engine that feels alive under your fingers. When you press the keys, the response is smooth, and the dynamic range is wide enough that you can pull a whisper-soft piano phrase in a small club or punch through a full voicing in a large hall without losing the sense of nuance. Now, the real question for most buyers is whether that piano sound alone justifies the purchase, or if the other features add enough practical value. The Grand 2 isn't just a piano, it's built around a powerful layering and splits system. In everyday gig scenarios, that means you can have a piano section on the lower half of the keyboard while the upper half carries a synth pad, an organ, or even a completely different piano layer. In my own rehearsal room, I set it up so the left hand handles a warm Rhodes electric piano while the right hand plays a bright, percussive grand. The transitions are seamless because the split points are adjustable on the fly, and the layering engine lets you blend the two sounds with a simple knob. That kind of flexibility is a real time saver for gigging musicians who need to cover multiple parts without swapping keyboards mid-set. The expanded sample synth engine is another area where the Grand 2 shows its teeth. Nord's synth engine isn't a full-blown workstation, but it packs enough waveforms, filters, and modulation options to create atmospheric textures that sit nicely behind a piano lead. In practice I've used it for ambient intros in a live worship setting, just a few seconds of slowly evolving pads, and the audience already feels the vibe before the first chord is struck. The engine is also lightweight enough that you won't notice latency, which is a common pain point with heavier synth modules when you have to switch patches on the fly. One of the biggest hidden trade-offs shows up when you consider the premium keybed and effects. The Grand 2's 88-key hammer action keybed is undeniably solid. It mimics the weight of an acoustic piano quite well, and that extra heft helps you develop proper finger technique. However, that premium feel also means the instrument sits on the heavier side of the portable stage pianos. If you travel with a single-person case, you'll notice the extra weight compared to other 88-key keyboards, and it may require a second person or a sturdy trolley for loading onto the stage. For a player who is constantly moving between venues, the extra effort might be a factor, but for someone who has a fixed rig or a dedicated road crew, that's less of a concern. Ready-to-play bundle is Nord's way of saying the Grand 2 ships with essential accessories, a sustain pedal, a music stand, and a USB cable for connecting to a laptop or iPad. That bundle saves you from hunting down the right pedal shape or a compatible stand, which can be surprisingly time-consuming when you're trying to get a gig booked. In my own setup, the included sustain pedal has a smooth action that matches the keybed's response, and the music stand is sturdy enough to hold sheet music or a tablet without wobbling. The USB port also lets you capture your performances directly to a DAW, a feature that freelance musicians appreciate when they need quick turnaround recordings for clients. So who exactly should buy the Nord Grand 2? If you're a professional pianist, keyboardist, or composer who routinely splits your parts between piano and synth layers, the Grand 2 gives you the tools to do that without a second keyboard. It's also a strong contender for studio musicians who want a realistic piano tone but also need quick access to synth textures for production work. The instrument shines in settings where you have a stable power source and a decent mixing desk. Small clubs, churches, and rehearsal studios are prime examples. Those venues benefit from the grand's rich piano voice and the ability to tuck in a subtle pad for ambience. On